I would think if you had a million guesses, you would never, ever, ever be able to guess the list of tools that I had to employ to build these 2 screwdriver handles. I use tools that I would have never, ever thought that would come into play with this stuff. And that's great. You know, that's the good thing about these challenges is they're challenging. They force you to think about things. And I think a lot of us underestimate the complexity of simple items. I employ the saying quite frequently is a simple doesn't mean easy. And this is indicative of that. This is a simple task, but it's not necessarily easy all the time. And in this video, if you choose to watch it to the end, you'll see hydraulic presses, you'll see chainsaws, you'll see metal lathes, you'll see all these tools that who would have ever thought that I would put all these things, 3D printers, you know, who would have thought that all this stuff would have got into making a simple handle. Well, Scoutcrafter, thank you very much for the challenge. I had a great time working on these out in the shop, and I hope you guys enjoy watching me go through the motions of constructing these 2 handles. Again, nothing outstanding about these things. Just a fun project, and that the tip on using the top of the belt sander to make the flat tip is just such a good idea, such a great little gem of knowledge to have. Anyway, let's get started. Welcome back to the shop. This is my screwdriver entry for the Scoutcrafter challenge. I love YouTube. It's a great venue, and as good as much as I love it, there's certain times when I get disgusted by it. I love the Farmcraft channel. The guy over there, John, is great, but he's so talented, it's disgusting. It's repulsive. He has a video where he makes a handle for an axe or for a scythe or something like that. So he goes out into his property, cuts a tree down, hand hews this beautiful handle. And as if that weren't good enough, it was perfect, just beautiful. Then he used that to make a casting, and then he casted his own aluminum handle with 50,000 Coke cans that he had laying around. I mean, it's just repulsive how talented some of these people are. I can never hope, I have no illusions about my skill set. but I'm going to attempt to be a real YouTuber and see if I can make a handle out of a firewood log. So this is out of my log pile. We're going to take it over to the bandsaw and turn it into something handle shaped. See what happens. I've got no plans. Maybe I'll carry another screwdriver over there for reference purposes. But I'm going to do like I do with the rest of the stuff, just wing it. Yeah, the bandsaw just wasn't working like I would like, so I think I'm going to change tactics. I have a feeling this isn't going to work very well, but we'll try it anyway. I've got my handle on my screwdriver made up here, and now I've just got this flat rod. I'm going to have to shape it on the 1x42. And once I have it roughed out on the 1x42, I'm going to bring it over here to the belt sander that I restored that was my grandfather's, and then that'll help profile the hollow ground tip on here. I do not have a good technique down, so I'm just going to skip past this part and show you the end product, but those are the 2 devices that I'm going to use. Well, after about 35 or 45 minutes of grinding, it probably was 15, but it feels like forever. I've got a decent end on that. It's very tough to do perfect. This is not perfect, but it's not bad. The fitment on them, I just brought a screw over there with me and it fits almost perfectly. Doesn't quite stick on the end of it, but it's close. Now I'm going to put some stain on this handle. This is really hard wood. Hopefully the video shows it cut nicely in the lathe, and I sanded it down to 400 grit. Now I'll put some gel stain on it. And I have not put any epoxy or anything on the handle. Not as of yet. It seems to, it went in there tight, like tight. I thought I was going to split the wood. Luckily it held together. And I don't see any, I think it would just scrape the epoxy out of there, to be honest with you. So I'm going to leave it as it were, just stain it. Well, I'm not in the shop, I'm in my office, and I'm messing around with the program software for 3D printing. I used to be pretty proficient at this when I had my first 3D printer. Now I've gotten this new one, and I've got to go back and relearn things. This is definitely a diminishing skill when you don't use it. The software changes, and things become a little bit more difficult because you forget what buttons do what. So I've modeled a very simple screwdriver handle, and I'm going to print it out. It's going to take an hour and 30 minutes to print. I have this Anycubic 3D printer. Been real happy with it. Right now I've taken the screwdriver handle and loaded it on an SD card. It's heated up the bed, now it's heating up the nozzle, those degrees in Celsius. And then it will start printing. I apologize, my office is sort of a disaster at this point in time, but that's what happens. This is sort of an indoor shop for me. I like to tinker around with the 3D printer. And we'll give the screwdriver handle a shot, see how it turns out. Well, it's not real good in here, but that's the 3D printed part after about an hour and a half. Just an amazing machine. A little hard to get off the print bed, but that is what it looks like. I can't get the handle all the way in there. Let's take this over to the press and put it in. I have two submissions for the Scoutcrafter Screwdriver Challenge today. First one is a wood handle one, obviously, and a flat tip because that's the limit of my abilities. And then the other one is a 3D printed one. This 3D printed one didn't take a whole lot of effort. The most effort went into grinding the tip on this. Other than that, it was drawing it up in SketchUp and telling the printer to print for 2 hours, and it is more than strong enough for a screwdriver handle. The 3D printer is really great. Let me know in the comments if you want to know more about the 3D printer. I had tossed around the idea of including more of it on the channel, but that was years ago and it didn't get any response. But